Updated March 21, 2019, 14 hours 56 minutes and 49 seconds video. Jacinda Ardern announces details of gun ban. ABC News. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has announced a plan to ban military-style semi-automatic weapons and assault rifles in the wake of the terrorist attack that killed 50 people in Christchurch. Key points. The ban will also apply to devices which can convert firearms and high-capacity magazines. Jacinda Ardern said there would be a buyback scheme to insensitivize gun owners. She said the measures were important to prevent a similar act of terror from happening again. Ms. Ardern said the ban would also apply to high-capacity magazines, all parts with the ability to convert firearms into semi-automatic style weapons, and parts that cause close to automatic gunfire. She said the law would be in place by April 11, at the end of the next two-week sitting session. In short, every semi-automatic weapon used in the terrorist attack on Friday will be banned in this country, she said. While the legislation is being prepared, immediate changes to licensing regulations will restrict the purchase of the weapons. She said no one would be able to buy the weapons from now without a permit from the police, but added there was no point in applying for such a permit. This is an interim measure to ensure the trade of these weapons ceases from 3 p.m. today. It is in the national interest and it is about safety. The Prime Minister said the government would introduce a buyback scheme to ensure fair and reasonable compensation was paid to gun owners. She said she expected the program could cost the country between $100 million, $96 million, and $200 million, $192 million. Ms. Ardern said there would be an amnesty period after the legislation passed, allowing people a reasonable amount of time to hand back their weapons. She said she did not want to punish owners who used their guns for legitimate reasons. I have been steadfast in my belief that the vast majority of these owners will support what we are doing here today because it is about all of us. She said, it is in the national interest and it is about safety. I will work hard to retain that support as we work on the remaining tranches of reform that we must make to prevent an act of terror happening in our country ever again. New Zealand Police Minister Stuart Nash said it was important the government made the decision to ban the weapons. These measures will make a real difference to enable New Zealand to become a safer place, he said. As the Prime Minister has already said, the time to act is now. Large prayer service to be held. Thousands of people are expected to come together tomorrow for an emotional Friday prayer service led by the imam of one of the two mosques targeted in the attack. Imam Gamal Foda said he was expecting 3,000 to 4,000 people, including many who had come from abroad to be with members of Christchurch's Muslim community and to attend funerals. Mr. Foda said he had been discussing plans for the prayer service with city officials and MPs and expected it would take place in Hagley Park, a city landmark across from Al Noor Mosque, where at least 42 people were killed. Ms. Ardern has announced that national TV and radio would broadcast the Muslim call to prayer live on Friday. Mr. Foda said it was important to lead the regular prayer meeting to show his community was strong and could not be broken. He said members of the Linwood Mosque, where the gunman killed at least 7 people, also would attend. Mr. Foda said Al Noor workers had been trying feverishly to repair the destruction at the mosque. They will bury the carpet because it is full of blood, and it's contaminated, he said. Mr. Foda said he expected the mosque to be ready to open again by next week and that some skilled workers had offered their services for free. The support we have been getting from New Zealand and the community has been amazing, he said. During Friday prayers last week, Mr. Foda had just finished the khutbah, a sermon delivered in Arabic, and was translating it into English when the gunman burst into the mosque and began shooting worshippers. Mr. Foda said his sermon had been about cooperating with each other, doing good and stopping evil. Community remembers beautiful human being. More victims of the attack were buried on Thursday as authorities identified and released more of the dead. 2 funerals were for 14-year-old Syed Ahmad Milne, a Kashmir high school student known as an outgoing boy in the school's futsal goalkeeper, and Tariq Rashid Omar, 24, a recent graduate of the school and beloved soccer coach of several youth teams. In a post on Facebook, Christchurch United Football Club Academy Director Colin Williamson described Omar as a beautiful human being with a tremendous heart and love for coaching. Families of those killed had been awaiting word on when they could bury their loved ones. Police Commissioner Mike Bush said authorities have formally identified and released the remains of 21 victims. Islamic tradition calls for bodies to be cleansed and buried as soon as possible. Topics: Islam, religion and beliefs, law, crime and justice. New Zealand First posted March 21, 2019, 13 hours 12 minutes and 29 seconds.